right, hey guys, what's going on? My name's Chris Huckes, and this is your Best Life Defined. Thanks for showing up today. So, I guess the issue that we're talking about today is a question of what are you doing about it? In other words, anything in your life, positive or negative, what action are you taking on a regular basis towards changing that, towards making it better? It's kind of an important concept because when we think about it, that is the answer to all struggles. That is the answer that people who are immensely successful hold on to. It isn't about whether or not we are different, because we're not. We all start out from the same base. We may be on different rungs of this ladder depending on what you're evaluating on that ladder, but the difference between you and someone who's immensely successful is the action they take to achieve where they are. I can tell you right now, I don't think I'll ever be a millionaire. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know that this is ever going to culminate in me becoming a millionaire, but I don't believe I'll ever be a millionaire. And part of that is because I don't value that. That's not what my struggle is. My struggle is waking up every day and realizing that no matter what I do, there's an opportunity for me to live a better life. And the same is true for you. The question is, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about that idea, about the idea that, yes, your relationship is tough. Yes, you've been married too long. And yes, you show up at work, you go home, you grab a 12-pack of beer, you drink 6 beers, and you fall asleep in your recliner at 8 o'clock every night. If someone's complaining about that, if you don't feel like that's up to your own standard, then change it. But in order to change it, you've got to define it, and then you've got to say, okay, what can I do about it? I know it's funny because this does seem simple. It does. It's a really simple concept. What are you doing about it? I think where we fall down is we don't have the endurance for it. We don't have the endurance to be able to say, okay, I'm going to take this action every day. I'm going to take this action every day. And that centers around the story. I've mentioned it before, and there's almost every podcast that I've done mentions a sequence of events. In order for us to achieve what we want to achieve, we have to develop a story around it. The story has to be so amazing. It can't be an average story. It has to be an amazing story that just inspires you to do what you want to get done. Now, what's cool is even for those mediocre achievements or events, let's say, for instance, the wife says, hey, listen, can we paint the bathroom this weekend? Can we do whatever we need to do this weekend? And you hate it. You had all kinds of other plans, or it wasn't on your agenda. How can you make that shit amazing? How can you make the idea of painting your bathroom amazing? Well, you could put something amazing at the end of it. You can say, okay, baby, all right, we'll do that. But I tell you what, let's add a little fun to it. Let's go ahead and plan it out so we have food delivered and we get to have margaritas just as we're finishing up. And then we'll hang out. We'll talk about how great a job we did, and we'll be a team, and we can laugh. We can even put some music on and talk about how we suck at painting and how amazing life is. Kind of a different perspective. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about the fact that you know you need to make a move in your job? You need to do something more because it's just not working. What are you doing about making that happen? Again, comes back down to the story. Comes back down to waking up every day and saying, okay, this is where I'm at. I think this is where I want to be, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that mark. I'm going to go ahead and define where I'm going, and I'm going to say, okay. And the story around it's amazing. Why don't you just build a story around becoming the CEO of your company, or owning your own company, or going back to school? The story is really important because the story is what inspires us to do something about it, to do something about that situation we're in. The story around my wife and I reconnecting and falling in love again and being the people that we are to each other and now is simply, I had this idea in my head. I watched those movies where the girl gets the guy, and then they break up, and then they work it out, and then they immensely fall in love, and it's happily ever after, right? I used to sit through those stories and I'd hate them. They piss me off. I'd be like, no one's life is like that. But in spite of me not actually believing it was true, I started building this story in my head about how amazing I could be as a husband, how much kinder I could be as a husband. And I don't know if you hear that, but that story, that message still resonates because that's who I am. That is who I've become. This isn't bullshit. You don't bullshit about something you don't get paid for. I'm not going to work hard enough at this to lie about something that's not true. I built this story around my wife and I falling in love again and how great she was. And then when you back that up with a platform of kindness where you say, okay, I'm not going to be mean to you anymore. I promise I'm not going to be mean anymore. Then all of a sudden it starts to make sense. Then all of a sudden you start seeing those changes. And what's really cool is you see a change within yourself. As soon as you start seeing that gain where instead of you going into a situation and you kind of cringe because you were back in a situation that would usually cause chaos or drama, and all of a sudden it just dissipates because one or both of you have embraced this new idea that does not fit that action, right? Carpenters don't buy ballerina shoes, right? They don't buy tutus. There's a reason they don't buy tutus. It doesn't belong there. It doesn't fit who they are. Look at your life. Ask yourself where you're going and then find something that fits you in the direction you want to go and then do something about it. Shit. I don't know. I go crazy sometimes. I sit here and think about it. It takes me a minute for me to just settle into the idea that I'm going to sit here and talk to you for a while. I don't know. For us, it's easy. And it's easy for you, even when you don't think you have options, because everybody or a lot of people base their decision on finances, on having the money or the time. But the reality is life is a gas. If you think about it, the life you live is a gas, and no matter what container you move into, in other words, whatever the life you decide to live or pursue, you fill that space up completely with your resources, your time. It's just filled up, and pretty soon this is your new block, because life is a gas. In order for you to make more room in your life or effect change in your life, you've got to remove some of that gas so you have room to put new gas in. Because they're like our lives are like shoes, they fit us. I mean, unless of course you're the unique few who are debt free and don't have an abundance of cash and are doing all the things you should do. But the reality is, I bet your time is still consumed. I know mine is. I don't have any debt. I'm able to do a lot of the things I want to do, and life is pretty damn good, but I still don't have enough time. I don't even know how I managed to work and then do all the things I did, because by the time I get done with today, it's going to be a full day. Now, what I'm doing about it is I'm looking at my time and I'm looking at how I can manage this. I don't know if you've noticed, but the consistency on these have gotten a lot better simply because I seen a problem with how I was doing it and I addressed it. I took steps to increase my productivity. And the way that I did that was I started planning better and I started using my time better. And that's what I did about it. And now look at me. I don't really have any struggle. I get my workouts in. I've got all the things I want to do in, and I still get to do one of these every day. Is that cool or what? Imagine that. People were thinking, one a day, that's nuts. Who can do that? Well, I'm doing it. 365, that's what I'm talking about. That's some crazy stuff, huh? I guess maybe it comes down to this. Take a minute and look at your life. Look at yourself. And pick one thing that you would wish would change. One thing. It doesn't matter what direction it's going to go. It doesn't matter whether it's going to make your life better, or it's an addition of something to your life or removing something from your life. But pick something you can change that will add value and give you access to something in your life that you value. Whatever that is. And you're defining that. This is not my story. This is your story. And then ask yourself what you can do about it. Write that thing on the top of a piece of paper and then write a list of things you can do about it underneath that thing. And then set it on the counter. Look at it every day when you get up in the morning before you go to work. Look at that thing. And what that thing will do is that will remind you of what you want to get done. And it'll give you a whole list of things. You don't even have to think about what you'll do because it's already listed. You already took the time to list it. And then do it. And keep it sitting there where you can see it every day, every day, every day until you just start taking those steps. That's what you can do about it. I don't care what aspect of your life it is. If it's children, how are you raising your kids? Ask questions, talk to people, learn some stuff. Maybe it's your education. Maybe you need to go back to school. Maybe you need to find an alternative career. Maybe you shouldn't be a waiter anymore. Maybe it's time for you to jump into the trades. Maybe you can settle and stabilize your income by going back to school or joining an apprenticeship for electrician. Maybe, I mean, the world is endless. Your horizon, when you stick your head up every morning and you take a look around, how many options do you truly have? How many things in your life do you have that are going to give you the opportunity to affect change? Give you an opportunity to do something about it. Do something about the struggle you face every day. Do something about the fact that you cannot seem, no matter how hard you try, to have time to do the things you love. Do something about it. You got that? I sound like I'm repeating myself. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's important for me to get on this thing, and I'm sorry about the fact that it sounds like I'm chewing your ass, but I'm not really that sorry about it, because guess what? You're running out of time. That music score in the background, that music just keeps grinding away. You know what that is? That's a clock. Seconds going by. Boom, boom, boom. Going by. I guarantee it won't be long. You'll be looking back at this moment right here, and you'll be going, damn, 3 years passed. He's still at it. Wow. What have I done? Wow, what have I done? Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Hey, listen, I appreciate it. I apologize. You know what? I just have to remind you that not all of these are going to be rock. And I mean, not everything I do is perfect. Not everything I do. Sometimes, just like you, my energy level is low. I'm not feeling it, so I'm not feeling like I'm here. Feels like it's starting to get back into it. I'm stop being afraid of the microphone. Stop listening to the microphone. Just doing what I do, right? That's how it goes. Some are better than others, but I thank you for continuing to show up. I hope you have a blessed life. As always, just remember to present all things from a platform of kindness. There's enough anger and hate in the world. We don't need to be adding to it. And as always, just remember, today's your day. Make it a good one.